Hello and welcome to the Primetime Pastimes podcast, the podcast where we talk to people in the wrestling space about their passions outside of wrestling. I'm one of your hosts, Ste, along with the other host, Gav. Hello, Gav.
Hey.
Hi. Joining us today, we have who some people have referred as Agent Orange, the Karate Man, Mr. Che Burnley. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you for.
Before we carry on, I've got to do one thing.
Oh, go on.
Okay.
Whose house?
Che's house!
There we go. Had to be done.
The man of 1,000 nicknames.
Oh, fantastic. Have you been called the Karate Man before?
Only by my mother.
Fantastic.
Hercules.
Oh, I love a film reference this early on. How are you, sir?
I'm good. And in the British way, that means that I think I've got the flu. But I don't know. I'm still talking. I just feel a little bit bunged up. I might be a little bit run down, but as British people do, we have to say that we're fine no matter what. So I'm fine.
Okay. British person response. Well, there is something going round, you know.
Yeah.
Well, nights are drawing
Started at school, all the kids have got it. Now we're all going to get it.
That's exactly it.
Oh, wait a minute. Your kids have got herpes?
Who's peas? No, a different thing. Right. Okay. Well, that was a bit of a sick conversation. So sorry. Before we talk about our topic today, we are going to talk just a little bit about wrestling. Not a wrestling podcast, but obviously we're all involved in the space. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into wrestling? What your motivations are? What your goals are? Let's just talk a little bit.
No one's motivation in wrestling.
Champion of AEW. No. First black champ of AEW. That's done. My name is Che. I am originally from Oldham, the hotbed of wrestling community. Marty Jones, boom, who still owns a pub up there, apparently. My dad knew him well, and that is one of the reasons that I'm in wrestling. Is that when I was about, let's say 6, that'll do. I had to write a story about what my parents did. My mum at that point used to be a nurse, so I wrote about her being a nurse. And my dad was a taxi driver, but he was a wrestler, and that sounded sexier. So I didn't know what sexier meant, but then so I used it in the wrong context. Shouldn't be using it as a 6-year-old. So I wrote about my dad being a wrestler and a boxer. And my dad, he was never brilliant in terms of like up the card, but he fought in a tag team called the Black Aces. Can you guess what the other guy was? It was 2 black guys in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s in Oldham, who were face wrestlers. So my dad has regaled me with stories like that, and then because of that, weirdly, he was, after he left wrestling, he wasn't into it. He admired it. He enjoyed doing it. But then the American influx came. You know, World of Wrestling went, the American ice kind of stuff came, and it was, you know, larger than life. And I was still into it. My dad wasn't into it, but my cousin was into it, and he had Sky. So I kept watching until I came to university in Liverpool, the greatest city on earth, and then dropped out of it at its best period during the Attitude Era because I didn't have Sky anymore. And I was a poor student, so I missed the best period of wrestling ever. Apart from when I went back home and watched pay-per-views and stuff like that. But yeah,
have you revisited it since?
Wrestling, yeah, back in
the Attitude Era.
Oh, the Attitude Era. I was going to say I've got to be in wrestling, otherwise, why would I be promoting Atomic Pro Wrestling? That was the thing. That's the great thing about wrestling now and how social media works, is that there's just clips flying around everywhere. To be fair, I did see quite a bit of the Attitude Era because whenever I went back home and went to my cousins, I went to anybody's house, or I can't remember where else I did it because the internet speeds were not fast enough to illegally stream it on a modem. Remember those kids? No, you don't, because you're all too young now. Yeah, so I
used to try and steal it from. I thought if you put, remember you used to have the indoor TV antennas for a normal BBC One and everything. I used to hang it out my window And I'd be like moving it around the window, thinking it will pick up someone's sky at some point, and I'd be there for like an hour, nothing.
That is adorable. One more question on that, just before we move on, Che. Have you managed to find any memorabilia or any pictures of your dad? Because I've listened to another podcast of yours where you were talking about that was one of your goals, was to try and find some content from the 60s and 70s.
It is. It's a bit difficult now because there was always slightly cagey about it, and again, the window is closing on people who know stuff. And I'm like going, and even if they do know stuff, they don't know it that well anymore. God bless them. It's just so it's because he wasn't high up on the card. It's going to be a very deep dive. I mean, it's like, did you see that oh God, this is great to go off on tangents because it's about superheroes. Did you see those two brothers who found a stash of comics and found Superman #1?
Yeah, so
I have not seen that. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, it's not Action Comics. It's not the one where he's lifting the car. It's the first issue of Superman.
Yeah.
So Superman 1. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to find a comic like that. But I'm also hoping to find, or just hear about people going, oh, here's a poster from such and such. I tried sifting through once a few years back, but again, people weren't loading up loads of stuff. So there's
Have you tried John Kenny? Have you spoken to John Kenny at all?
No, I've not. This is the thing. It's like this is the start of a journey when I'm trying to do other journeys. I've got a wrestling company to run. I've got to do stand up. You know what? I'll go on a voyage of discovery of trying to find one poster from my dad wrestling. But yeah, it's because I do comedy. It's interesting because I've got a mate called Andy Hollingworth who's a great photographer. He's done some headshots for me and stuff, and he archives comedy. And I know there's a Wrestling Hall of Fame, but it'd be interesting to see what archives you could have for like a UK archive of former wrestling, because there's so much. And just recording people as well, recording some of the old heads, their stories. Because give it a pint in a pub and a recorder, you've got stories for years. You know.
Oh, 100%. Now, we're going to run out of time very shortly, but obviously we're talking about the Atomic Man in Superman. Let's talk about your wrestling company, Atomic,
the greatest wrestling show on earth, unless you're including AEW, WWE, TNA, and other various ones that are massive. But like right here in heart of Liverpool, some boys and a girl with a dream. No, it's basically what it was is that Chris Welsh, Dec McCarthy, and who am I forgetting? Viz. I always forget Viz. It was like Dre. And myself went and trained at Fighting Spirit, which is the wrestling training thing that was done in, I think it's up, is it Crosby? It was Crosby. It was run by Zach Gibson and James Drake, the grizzled young veterans. I love doing that. That's practice from ring announcement. I love seeing Gibbo when he's on his own and doing all that stuff. But yeah, they trained us, and then they obviously went to America and found their fame, and so there was no training anymore. But a lot of us just went, oh, why don't we set up a wrestling company? It was mainly Chris's idea. Why don't we set up a wrestling company? Do you want to be involved? Yes, I do. But let's do it in sort of the kind of ethos is for the people that weren't getting seen at the time, because there's a lot more. There's the UK scene is thriving. I think it's on a bit of an upswing at the moment, but there's still loads of wrestlers out there that don't get seen, and there's still loads of wrestlers out there that, again, I draw parallels with comedy, because if you don't get stage time in comedy, it's like working a muscle. It's like your timing goes, you sort of like you fumble over stuff a little bit, but you can only get that if there is enough comedy clubs, and if you're going out to the right comedy clubs, and you're going. Same with wrestling, you need to be seen, you need to be wrestling. So there is a point where you're not, you're starting out, you're not great, but you need to get the reps in. So it's just sort of, I'm not saying that it's everybody who's there is a novice. It's just sort of like there are some people who've been around for a while and not getting seen, but are at a level where they are good enough at that point. So it was, when we started out, that was the thing. But now we've built to a point where, Scott Oberman's our second ever champion. Tony Wright was the first. It was a great first champion. God bless. It was one of my
Oh,
mates.
we're about to be cut off.
Oh, are we?
No, finish up, Che.
Yeah, no more.
Oh, no, it's great.
There we go.
It is great. It is great. So we'll circle back to that. But let's, for now, trade talk of wrestling for festive, fun films. Of course, we are talking about the 1983 Trading Places. Very, very briefly, will you tell us what Trading Places is all about, Che?
It is, and I've done my research because I love the music that starts it off. There's a piece of classical music at the beginning, which is called "The Marriage of Figaro," and it's based on that. Really, it's about the Eddie Murphy, just on the rise of his massive fame during the 80s. Dan Aykroyd, similar, just both of them had been doing Saturday Night Live. Aykroyd had just done Blues Brothers, and they came together, and it was about a sort of like Freaky Friday but with race. So it was the premise is that there's these two rich guys who control the stock, Duke and Duke brothers, who control these stock markets, and they believe that they can change the poor black man if given the same chances as the rich white guy in their stocks and shares could perform just as well. And that if they took the money away from the rich guy, that the rich guy would flounder just as much as the black guy was. And those two roles, so they basically swap places on a bet from these two old dudes, and then they find out and then try and take them down. So it is an amazingly what's the word? It's a film that was shot in 1983, but you could do it today. You could do it right now. In fact, I wanted to point out this out is that I reckon that they haven't remade this because the same thing happened with the Marriage of Figaro. Mozart's Marriage of Figaro. The same thing happened is that it was sort of banned because it highlighted that the poor people, the servants, outwitted the rich people. And it's the same thing in this film. So they didn't show the Marriage of Figaro for ages. And it's the same with this. It's just sort of like, there's lots of beats in it where you go, this is explaining a lot of stuff what's going on right now.
100%. Hold on. Let me just wipe out all my comments on the Marriage of Figaro in my notes. We don't need to worry about that anymore.
You know what? It's the thing that really I watched that as a young kid. And the reason that I love it so much, and it's one of the best Christmas films, because I forgot, I always watched it at Christmas, and it was the one film that my mum and dad would sit down, and I was a young lad, and there's a lot of swears, there's a lot of weird language that you can't use anymore.
Yes.
But I remember my dad laughing at all this stuff. There's racial stuff in there, there's homophobic stuff in there, there is a lot of boobs. A lot of boobs.
Billy Curtis's boobs.
That's what well, that's another half an hour that Steve's going to have to scribble out there.
I could talk forever. No, I'm joking. It was shocking because, like you just alluded to, I was very young when I saw this film, and my parents were just okay with it for some reason. There's a go on.
I think there are certain films I couldn't understand as a kid. That my dad would tell me off for certain language. Not that I was, but like, you're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to do that. That's rude. That's shouldn't do this, that, and the other. That film, and especially on Race at the time when I was growing up, Mandela was still not released. Crying out loud, he was still in jail. That's Nelson Mandela for all the kids. He was like, I don't know, Chadwick Boseman of the time, It's actually he played Nelson Mandela, didn't he? Anyway,
he did. Yeah, I was going to say that.
There was that and Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles, right? And both of them include the N-word, have a lot of derogatory terms about other people. There is nakedness. There is all this kind of stuff. All this stuff that I just thought, my dad hates this. Why is he laughing at it? And then as I've got older, I've gone, because it's funny. It's actually funny. And it's not that kind of woke comedy. Not woke, the reverse of that. You know, when edgy comedians go, everything's gone too woke now. You can't even remake all these films. You can. They've just got to be cleverer. It's just sort of it's just sort of like, I get annoyed sometimes. Comedy, music, and wrestling to a degree. People go, you can't do this anymore and you can't do that anymore. And you go, well, there might be a reason for it. And if you're that good, you can work around it.
Could not agree more. Let's wait for the deep dive because I've got some quick fire facts to to give you. But yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you've just said on that front, and I will wipe that off my notes for later on.
Well, I'll try and do something where it's not something that you've researched. One of the things it was, I was going to talk about it being a Christmas movie, but a quotable movie as well, because films, if you look at the structure of that film is not like how films are made now.
I 100% agree.
It starts with a huge piece of classical music, and not one of the actors in it till about 2 minutes in, and then it's Denham Elliott. It's not even the main character. And it's just setting stuff up to show you the disparity between haves and have-nots, and it's sort of building it in your brain. So it's not there going 1994, Terminator came to think. It's sort of it shows you, but it's not telling you. Show don't tell.
You've got to think a little bit.
Yeah,
that's it.
You really do. I do want to circle back to that because I've got a lot of things to say about that opening, to be quite honest with you. For me, it's one of my favourite openings of the film of all time, and I'll get more into it. But yeah, let's do these quick fire facts, get them out of the way. So the writer of this film was originally inspired by two upper-class doctors, brothers, who used to play tennis with him. He used to hate their sibling rivalry and imagine them considering the arguments of nature versus nurture at the expense of others. So that's how the initial thing was incepted. The original script was called Black and White. It was going to star Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor before Richard Pryor's suicide attempt where he set himself on fire. Keen-eye people will see Breaking Bad's Gus Fring actor Giancarlo Esposito as one of the cellmates of Eddie Murphy in one of his first roles. The misappropriation of government information, like in the film, never actually used to be illegal. Back in 2010, the Eddie Murphy rule came into effect, banning that sort of thing on the stock market. Frank Oz, Yoda, / the voice of many Muppets, notably Miss Piggy, appears as one of the policemen. He's the guy that says, "Angel dust, TP. You know what this does to kids?" $6 billion worth of trades were halted when Murphy and Aykroyd tried to film scenes in the World Trade Center on a weekday. People just lost their shit and just could not concentrate. Winthorpe's jail processing number is the same number as Jake Blues in the Blues Brothers. Of course, John Belushi had died very recently to this, so that was a little homage. There was a famous reoccurring fake film called See You Next Wednesday that appears in a lot of John Landis films. There's a poster for that in the background. If anyone has never heard of the See You Next Wednesday reoccurring gag, that's well worth a Google. And also the final fact of the film for me is karate men bruise on the inside and you cannot see it. Thank you so much.
I've got a fact.
Give me another fact.
I do.
Go on.
The two old guys obviously do the thing. They were in the Muppets as the same characters.
Wow.
You mean Randall and Mortimer Duke?
Yeah. The two Muppets guy in the top of the theatre, same characters.
Waldorf and
Waldorf. Waldorf and Astoria, yeah. Okay, before we go into this opening scene, if you had to do this film, replacing everybody with the Muppets, but leaving one human actor, why would it be Jamie Lee Curtis?
You know what? Yes, I don't think it needs to add any more than that, but like Jamie Lee Curtis seems like the kind of person that could do anything with Muppets. It's amazing.
Anything with Muppets.
I was speaking to my mum about this, and before I was trying to watch all of it before this because I was like going, but I'm gonna watch it with my mum over Christmas because it is. I forgot it's like our Christmas film, and it was the bit where Jamie Lee Curtis's boobs were out, and my mum went. First time I saw this, I just thought, oh well, she got nice knickers on. I was just like, well, I didn't even know she was noticed that she was wearing any. To be honest with you, my eyes were up there, so.
An incredible woman is your mother for noticing that. So let's talk about that opening scene because I'm dying to talk about that. How do you feel about the opening scene before I sort of butt in and give my thoughts on it?
it's. I already thought it was perfection. Very, very good anyway. And then I've rewatched it, and I've just gone. Actually, this is how filmmaking should be again, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm slightly biased because it's one of my favorite films, but it is just sort of like it's not straight in. It's just sort of like it's everything that you probably wouldn't do as filmmakers now. Because let's start with some classical music, then just scenes of New York or wherever it is. It is New York, isn't it?
No, it's Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Oh, what's that?
I thought that because it was a thing of Rocky in the beginning, isn't there? There's a statue of Rocky.
Yeah, there is a statue of Rocky, but some of the market stalls are the same stalls that were in Rocky, where he throws him the orange juice. Orange juice, hello. When he throws him the orange in Rocky and he catches it, that they film on the same bit, using the same sort of stalls as well.
That's what confused me as a kid, is because I associated Eddie Murphy with not Beverly Hills Cop. Was it Beverly Hills Cop? I just thought that everybody in America was from New York. And then I was watching it before, and I was like, "No, everything must be." It's like everything is filmed in Britain is from London, unless they want it miserable and death, and then it's the north somewhere.
Well, yeah, coming to America was New York as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Queens.
So,
yeah. To be fair, though, in regards to the film being set, there is a significant portion of this film set in New York. So I understand why people would conflate the two, because obviously they go to the World Trade Center at the end. So I don't think they explicitly ever say it's Philadelphia, but it is, because you can tell by some of the landmarks, especially Rocky.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's beautiful that they're set in the tone of have and have not. So there's like, it starts off and it's just like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then it's sort of like guys stood around the oil drum trying to get warm with fingerless gloves, and then it's and then they slowly bring in sort of like more and more wealth. So you're getting Denham Elliott cooking the breakfast for Dan Aykroyd, and you're seeing it's just the disparity of all of it. So even before you're getting into the film, your brain is trained to go, oh, it's this and that, and then it's black and white as well. And then it's so. I remember again. I was like, Jesus, they're playing basketball with a crate. It's just, I'm like, poor bastards. I mean, we like to swear.
You absolutely are allowed to swear.
Yeah, no, poor bastards.
Great. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, one thing that I've, because I'll be honest, I watch this every year. This is a New Year's Eve film for me, or Eve if I'm out on New Year's Eve, because the whole span of this film is from just before Thanksgiving all the way through to Christmas, to New Year's Eve. So it covers quite a long period, really. But yeah, I always class it as being a New Year's Eve film. But in that opening scene, a lot of the commodities which you're going to hear about throughout the film, like your bacon for a BLT sandwich.
Can I just say? Yeah. I love the fact that he looks at camera in that, and that is not a typical thing at that point. And it's just sort of like, because everybody goes, "Oh, it's Will Smith who started that off in The Fresh Prince," where he goes, "Ooh," and then you go, "No, there." And I could feel it coming. I went, "Wait a minute." He does a thing where he looks to the camera where he goes, "Bacon for your BLT."
It's so good. But yeah, all those commodities that we're talking about, you're seeing them in the opening scenes. You're seeing the black and white divide in the city. You're seeing the status quo of everything. But what I love is when it migrates to that, and you see Winthorpe, Dan Aykroyd going to being very, very mollycoddled and all that lot, and he's opening the door for him, and the whole time you're thinking, what a and when he gets to the law firm, the commodities broker, Duke and Duke, everyone's saying hello to him, good morning, and he's acknowledging them, and he's saying good morning to some of them. And then he gets to the end, but then you do a fairly quick cut to the Duke and Duke, who really elevate things. These people then wake up in what is essentially a castle. They are then walking and not acknowledging anybody. So it really sets in your mind subconsciously, this guy's a bit of an idiot, but these are the real villains. These are the ones you really want to root for. And especially, and like with Eddie Murphy as well, Valentine, when your first time you see him, he's not a very likable character either. I mean, he is with the performance, but he's got the stolen valor of pretending to be a war veteran, pretending to conning people because he's got no legs. But that juxtaposition of you see these two morally questionable people against the Duke and Duke brothers, who are so obviously evil. I just love that entire opening 5-10 minutes.
I think in this as well is that Denham Elliott is incredibly underrated because he does so much without doing anything. Because what you're saying now, where they're walking through and the way that they treat other people, there is a couple of bits. One where Denham Elliott is where he's cooking them the pancakes, and he goes, "Oh, that'll be all." And he goes, "What shall I do with the pancakes?" And he goes, "You can have them." And he just tips them in the bin, and he's just sort of like. But then he picks up straight after that, he picks up the phone, rings, picks it up, and it's the Duke brothers, and he doesn't know, and he goes, "Hello," and he goes, "Oh, hello," and then puts on airs and graces. Or there's like the first time that Eddie Murphy, when he's in the house and he chucks people out, I think it is, he says thank you to him, and he goes, "Oh, thank you, sir," and it touched him because he doesn't always get that, and he mentioned, he's but. Not under the stairs, downstairs, like upstairs, downstairs, he hates the Duke brothers, and he's behind the scenes, he can't stand them, but to their faces, he has to play the role that he's supposed to play.
He's so good in that film, and for me, him and Ophelia / Jamie Jennifer Love Hewitt, I was going to say then, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I can see the similarities.
I'd like to see them. So they're the heart and soul of the film, really. Neither of them are the protagonist, but really are the heart and soul of the film, and they represent both sides of the same coin in many ways. I love it. One thing I'd like to circle back to.
We'll circle back to that in one more minute because we are going to have a quick break. So our sponsors will have a quick word, and then we'll come back with the next half.
Sounds great. So circling back to what we were about to say about the phone call that Coleman has. Something that really annoyed me, and I don't know if it annoyed anybody else, was how much information that guy allegedly got from the Duke brothers in that literally 15-second phone call. Didn't bother anybody else?
No, because they've done it before. That's the thing. Okay. So they do. Again, this is good writing in a film. Is that they explain it a little bit later on, where they're saying, or it might just be before, and they say something really interesting, which you could actually build another film out of, which is we did it before, but this time it's for a good cause.
Yeah, that's true.
You're like going, what the hell was the other thing for then? So you could do the young Duke brothers. I think they did that in a TV show in the 80s, but it was.
I'd love to see that.
The Dukes brothers.
I would, yeah.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
It's Dukes. Oh,
that's how it ties in. Funny. That's where they came from. They started off helping against the sheriff, and then they became the sheriff themselves.
Can you imagine Randolph and Mortimer trying to squeeze into the General Lee? That would be incredible. I'd pay to see that.
Then,
so,
Mortimer, your brother's stuck in the car. Fuck him!
Fuck him!
They lost all the money, and Akeem gave it them all back.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, they did. Yes. They did show up in Coming to America as well.
I popped for that when that happened in Coming to America. I popped for that. I went, oh my god, it's them.
I think I saw it first because I don't remember it happening until I rewatched many years later. I say many years, probably 1988 or 89, something like that. So it was a few years later, but I don't remember it. So I think I might have seen Coming to America first. Another film by John Landis with a great opening scene that's very, very similar to Trading Places. About Trading Places, how old were you when you realised that was a pun?
No.
Oh, really? Fantastic.
You know what? I think my head had understood all that, but it's never thought about it. That is mad. I knew it was like talking about trading. I knew it was thingies. I knew that the Trading Places. It just in my head. It's just never properly fully clicked.
No, it was a long time for me as well. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I watch this every year, so it took a while. I was like, they're working at Trading Places.
Maybe
Wait a second.
I'd like to think I wasn't that as a kid.
No, but we were engrossed by it, weren't we? That's the thing. There's some banger puns in this film, though. I made a list of them somewhere. A lot of people went belly up on that one. Was probably my favourite when they're talking about the pork bellies. You're from a broken home, of course. Yeah, we were broke. So what? That made me laugh. And then the escargot thing. So yeah, sort of share that with you.
I have one, but it's again. I'm using it in the car. Oh God, yeah. I'm going to say. Can I say the N word? Not the N word, but I don't think it's not the slur one. It's just the descriptive one. Because
please,
it's where the Duke brothers are talking to each other, and he goes, "There's obviously something is wrong with him from a young age." And he goes, "Of course something's wrong with him. He's a Negro." And I go, "That is beautiful." That is. It's just Don Amici in that film. Is that another tidbit that you've got down there somewhere? That Don Amici, his old school actor, hated the fact that he had to swear at the end. And
yeah.
And then he went around and apologized to everybody after he did that final fuck him scene, which is one of the most beautiful scenes in the world.
Yeah, I did have that down, but I love Don Amici, especially in films like Cocoon. I thought he's such a great actor, and Ralph Bellamy as well. Really, I think the entire cast is incredible, top to bottom. Do you, whilst we're talking about the cast, do you guys know how problematic it was getting the cast together?
I'm gonna guess cut a lot, because whenever Eddie Murphy is involved in them at that point, it is always he should have been in this. He couldn't have done it because of that. I know that he missed out on Ghostbusters, didn't he? He missed out on Ghostbusters. He did, yeah. He should have been.
That was written for him.
It was written for him, and then they give all of the black quips to Peter, which really annoyed Thingy. Ernie Hudson, another great actor.
Yeah, another. Oh God, I'll watch The Crow every day of the week. I love the original Crow.
So you like? Does anybody like the new one?
Don't think so. I hope not.
It's fine. If it had been called anything else, we'd all be loving it.
A Crow film.
Yeah, it's a good film. Yeah. It's just not in the Crow universe. It's not allowed.
This is all
called Pigeon.
Yeah, it's all about IPs. That's what the problem with film is now. If they did try and remake Trading Places, they would. I get the feeling that they would not do it. They go, "Oh no, it's great to be a banker, and it should sort of like you should love them." You know, not a trader.
My big thing with this film and Coming to America, and I think the other one, when I first watched them, it was on TV, so all the swears were edited.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But because I've watched them so many times on taped cassettes where there's no swears, it doesn't read right for me. Because I go, but you go, fluff him or whatever. You don't ever say the word. It's
Yippee-ki-yay, Kimasabi.
That's the one. That's it. Yippee-ki-yay, Kimasabi.
Yippee-ki-yay, Kimasabi.
Yeah. When I saw that on TV, that threw me so much. I went, why is he not swearing?
Yeah.
You've led a sheltered life, Gav.
But yeah, they were all mine were tapes just off TV with the adverts cut out, and I just used to rewatch them.
So when did you finally see Jamie Lee Curtis's full personality on play?
Years later. Okay. So
I want to take Gav and introduce him to gangster rap.
So do I.
It's sort of like bring him back and go, oh, these are not the words I remember from here in NWA. What's going on here?
Oh, the National Wrestling Alliance.
I used to love NWA, so I have actually, when they were big, I was into them. So,
but it was like a lot of it was just silence because it was edited out. I got the radio edits.
What's
just
this?
silence.
From the
Every now and
police?
again, you'd hear Ice Cube pop up.
From the police? I don't get this. Why are you so aggressive?
Have you seen Adam? I can't remember what he's called. Joe Buxton's "Help the Police."
No,
it's brilliant.
Send us a link later because I feel like I like that.
It's him driving in the car with his missus and his kids in the back, and he goes, "Let's listen to NWA," and then he turns as he's driving, he turns it down every time there's a swear or anything like that, and he goes, "Help the police! Help the police!" It's a genius sketch. It's a genius sketch.
Yeah, make sure you send us a link of that. Right. So yeah, the reason why this was quite a risky prospect and why they had a bit of a horrible time with getting the cast together is I mentioned earlier Richard Pryor tried to commit suicide, burned himself very, very badly. Originally, it was going to be him and Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder was still contracted. Eddie Murphy had done one film at this point, which was 48 Hours, even though he'd done very well at Saturday Night Live. So they wanted to bring him on board, but he suggested someone like Aykroyd because he didn't want to be known as Richard Pryor's replacement, which was something, as I'm sure you know, that he was very, very wary about in the young time, in the young points of his career, because they were so alike in the stand-up and moving into film. He didn't want to be associated as the replacement for Richard Pryor. So he tried to get Aykroyd on. Aykroyd himself, people weren't thinking he was a box office hit at this point. Even though he'd done Blues Brothers, he was very much known. The Second City Saints, the comedy troupe that they did, it was always him and
Belushi?
John Belushi. It was always him and John Belushi as a double act. So people weren't really up for him sort of being in that. He eventually convinced them, thank God, because it's a great team up. The charisma is amazing. Jamie Lee Curtis was also not seen as a bankable star because she had done pretty much horrors at this point. Obviously, she's a daughter of a horror person as well.
Bankable star, not bangable star.
I said bankable. Twist my word. Oh Lord! And finally, they thought Don Amici was dead because he hadn't been in anything for a little while. So it really did sort of take a lot of head scratching and a lot of pulling of the strings to get this cast together. And as I mentioned, I don't think if you replace any member of that core cast, the film is not the same. I think they all work together so beautifully.
That's the thing with filmmaking is that I'm interested in how it's going at the moment. Is that even everybody thinks that it's a new thing, that they go, oh, they're only doing remakes and reboots, and they only go for actors who are bankable success things, and this and the other. Half the time, those actors are not. Yes, bankable. That is the word of the day. That is Matt Briscoe's word of the day. Bankable. Still got the wrestling in there. Is that it shows that you've got to take a risk on some of those people. It's like wrestling again. If you don't give those people a canvas to work with, then they're never going to replace the people who came before them. And that, like you say, and 48 Hours, that then led to that. Then you got Beverly Hills Cop, and then they started making all the Beverly Hills Cops, and then they also made another 48 Hours, and then it was this sort of like, can we do a reboot of this? And it all comes in circles, but there's got to be a pipeline of new people coming through, and a lot of the. It's funny that Trading Places is about a hierarchy, and that the film industry is exactly like that. And I bet a lot of people behind the scenes in that film industry were going, "Have you seen this film we've got? Oh, aren't these people in money old? Aren't they all terrible?" And then you're going, "You." It's another BLT look to the camera thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in regards to the cast, I think I know your answer to this. Who do you think? If take away Billy Ray Valentine and Lewis, take away them. Yeah, Winthorpe. Get rid of those two. Who is the best character for you, excluding those two main guys?
Because I forgot how beautiful she was, I want to say Jimmy Lee Curtis, but it is Denham Elliott. It is definitely Denham Elliott. He is just.
I knew it. I knew it. Yeah.
He's just, again, it's. I'm trying to relate everything I possibly can to wrestling because I love wrestling, but I also love this film. I always used to love Regal. There used to be a thing on 411 Mania where they had a column called The Little Things, and it was about little things that wrestlers do that elevate what they do, and a lot of wrestlers do that. And William Regal was always in that column because he's just, wiping his feet before he gets in the ring, doing a little, just a little movement to make a move look even more painful. The way that he looks at the camera, the way introducing the camera. Denham Elliott is very much like that anyway. He was a really well-respected actor, but he's doing this role and he's going to get laughs, but he's not playing it to get laughs. He is doing it as he is a butler who, again, I was watching the first 10, 15 minutes of it, and you can sense there is an underlying disdain for the people that he works for. He understands where he is in the world, and he understands what he has to do to get through that world, but he doesn't have to like the people that he is surrounded with.
I find as well, when he's acting, he's almost aware of the camera, so he's almost breaking the fourth wall all the way through it.
He's almost you. He's almost you because he's the person that sees the most in that film. Yeah. He sees all sides and he sees all people. So he knows the Duke brothers. He knows what's going on behind the scenes. He knows the two. He is us. He can see what we can see.
Yeah.
But he can't say anything because he's not allowed to. And that was an interesting thing that I saw. So I was going to say there's an interesting thing that I saw about hierarchies as well. Is that, again, from the beginning, it looks like it's all about race. But when Eddie Murphy gets arrested at the beginning, the two cops, one of the cops that pick him out of the thing where he's saying, I've got no legs and I can't see, is one black, one white. The cops that come and arrest him, black and white. People, there is poor white people and poor Hispanic people. So it's more about class.
It's class.
But because it's so vivid, like they're going to call it black and white. So it's sort of like, that's the thing. But it is a hidden thing to put all this stuff about class in it.
Because if you look at it.
Because over here, we have these conversations I have these conversations all the time. I don't know why. But over here, class plays more of a role than it does in America. Although it does play a lot of things. Race is more prevalent over there. The race thing is front and center. They have the classes, but it's more sort of in your face of that. It's just money. It's just pure money. Over here, it's like they don't have a royal family. That's what it is. So all of their worth is tied up into what their value is. Whereas over here, what it is it's about hierarchy, about where you can move up in your social standing. And there is a bit of that, but there's a really interesting bit again where Eddie Murphy, when he invites somebody over to his house, how quickly he changes from being poor to rich.
Very quickly, yeah.
He starts moaning at people about having coasters. You're like going, when have you ever had coasters in your house, mate? But as soon as he gets into that environment, he's like going, hey, who's putting out coals on my rug?
He's playing the game so well as a character in that film because a lot of the time you can see his inner conflict about dealing with these people, and you can see him stopping himself from saying certain things. Like he stops himself from swearing a couple of times. He's playing up in the when he does the escargot thing, he's playing to everybody there. You can see he's very much playing a part inside of the part.
Yeah, a lot of people are hiding what they truly are, or how they truly behave, or their core things. Again, Denham Elliott. Going back to Denham Elliott, while they're in having that party in that house, which again is one of my favourite scenes because it makes my dad. A few years ago, my mum and dad watched that. My dad both got drunk, and my dad started doing the "Do you wanna funk?"
Do you wanna funk?
When she's taking the top off with a fur coat off like that. But Denham Elliott's going around, and he's the servant, and he's picking up people's glasses, and he's having a slide drink out of them. And it's just sort of like, it's little things like that where you go, right, okay. So you are part of this aristocracy, this money aristocracy, but at heart you are the drunk Irish vicar.
There's also a really good character development for Denholm Elliott. The fact that there's little slips in his facade, like when he's taking a little sip, like you say, and also when he confides in Valentine a little bit, says, just get some sleep, sir. They can't take that away from you and all this lot. But by the end,
that is a genius line. That is a genius line. It's sort of like it's just be yourself, sir. They can't take that away from you. They can't
take that. Yeah, that
and it was just sort of like, that is a beautiful moment that I didn't notice at all, and then I was watching it and went, that is a genius line that foreshadows a lot of stuff.
Well, he's quite complicit at first, but you can tell he dislikes what he's doing. He grows to like this person, and by the end, when Winthorpe's polishing his shotguns, no euphemism there, and he comes in and says, if we beat them to it, eggnog. The facade's completely dropped by that point, and he is just all in.
As soon as he's been waiting for that revolution, he's up for it. That's it.
Fight the power.
Yeah. So
100%. He's a massive driving force in this,
and that's what rich people need to be fearful for. Is that at some point the people who are working for him will rise.
Yes,
there's more of us than there is of them.
Can I defend a character real briefly as well? Penelope. What's everyone's thoughts of? Oh, I need to. Winthorpe's girlfriend, Penelope. What's everyone's thoughts about her?
Vacant. Just vacant. Nothing there.
I think Penelope and all of his buddies are a vital role in showing you that. But like again, it's both sides. You go, oh, aren't rich people horrible, right? But so you've got, they were supposed to be his friends, and then he goes and asks if he can borrow some money off them. Penelope's already off with Todd. They're all in singing barbershop, and they're all going on about how horrible he is. And you know that all of them have probably been on coke that day, right? And you know that they're all hiding stuff, and you're going, oh, you're it's all a facade. There's a very thin veneer, and then if you scratch the surface, it's terrible. But then. And then people go, oh, you're just jealous and you hate rich people. On the other side, when they all have that party, all those people that hated Billy Ray are now his mates incredibly quickly. And I think it shows you that, be careful who, the company you keep and friends. So, like, I see what you mean.
I'm going to defend her. I'll tell you for why.
Go on.
So basically, she's in exactly the same scenario as Winthorpe to an extent. She's had this family wealth. She's been brought up. She literally doesn't know any better. Who's to say if she hadn't have had a similar experience, she wouldn't have grown as a character. What I like about the Penelope character is, okay, obviously this Todd guy has been getting on at her for years and years at this point. That's all in the subtext. She starts to believe Winthorpe when she picks him up. She goes to that horrible, dingy prison or jail cell. She picks him up.
Yeah, it does at start. She does feel sorry for him.
She does, and not only that, but when he's telling her about the angel dust PCP, she starts to believe him for a second, and it's only when a woman who appears to her and appears to know Winthorpe finally, that she sort of that's it. That's the end. And when you see her again in the club, she's made a mistake. She's gone off with Todd, but she quietly whispers, "We don't want to sell your drugs here, Louis." So she clearly believes that she's been wronged here. I don't know. I think if I was in her situation, I'd empathise with her. Justice for Penelope.
Well, moving on.
Have I convinced you? Come on.
God no. It's like if you. I. To be fair, actually, no. Saying that, right? I was going to say they didn't write women's roles that well, or still don't. But Jamie Lee Curtis's character is incredibly written stronger than Penelope. I know,
yes.
but she has boundaries and she has guidelines, and she didn't jump into bed with Lewis right at the beginning. She closes the door, and that's another good line. I can't remember what it is. It's sort of like it's like on a chart. You're sleeping on the couch, but it's
you have to pay for
rent. Isn't the only thing that costs money or something?
Yeah.
Food and rent aren't the only thing that costs in this house.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, I like her as a prostitute more than I like Pretty Woman. It's just sort of like
yeah. I hope to talk about Pretty Woman one day because I really enjoy that film too, and I've got some thought.
I love that film because it reminds me of my granddad. I also love that film because my granddad never believed that she was a prostitute. It was a very interesting Christmas constantly where my mum and other family members would go, "She's a prostitute." No, she's just a woman who just likes expensive things. It's sort of like my granddad was very religious, but he was not being swayed that Julia Roberts was a prostitute.
I get it, and because I think there's a throwaway line in Pretty Woman that sort of suggests she's not been on the job very long. So I think she's just the tip into the industry, shall we say?
Oh, don't use that phrase.
No, she's just getting tips. That's what I meant.
All right, okay,
yeah,
not just the tip.
No, come on now.
I misinterpreted that on purpose.
We're better than that. So the party scene where everything goes wrong. I had nightmares about beard salmon for years. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I can't see a Santa Claus without seeing Dan Aykroyd like that, and I think his is the best version of Santa. It's a sort of like at that point I didn't really. I couldn't afford salmon. It was many years later when I actually got to taste hairy salmon. But it is just a very, again, I'm not trying to criticize all new films and CGI and all that kind of stuff, but there is something that just gets you in your heart and your stomach as he's just pulling. It's just, you can feel it as it's coming out, and it's on the bus, and you're like, go. But it's what I would do if I was drunk and angry at a party. Is that
with a kebab?
Yeah, well, I have been there.
Beard kebab.
It's how the rich live. They have salmon in their beards. We have kebabs.
There you go. And I wouldn't trade a kebab for all the salmon in the world. So there's one sort of segment that I don't think has it's seen better days. I appreciated it more in the 80s and 90s, but the entire sequence on the train in the New Year's Eve party, it's a completely different film.
That is weird. It does go. Again, if they're basing it like Mozart, it does all get very farcical and chain, and that's the whole thing of it. It's sort of everybody's dressed as something else and this, that, and the other, and it does feel like a jump, doesn't it? There is a kind of no, they're on the train.
Put in the middle. It's like you stop the film and put a sketch show, and they're all got a little bit each.
They're all caricatures.
Yeah. It's very weird.
I think that's supposed to be the thing. You know what? I've forgotten as well. You know, I was talking about underrated actors in there. I don't know what he's called, but the guy who plays Clarence Beeks. Again.
Oh yeah, I forget his name. He's great.
He's again hearing my dad laugh at swears where he's on the phone to them, and a woman's just like waiting for the phone, and he just goes, "Hold on, fuck off."
So funny.
Was he the headmaster in Breakfast Club?
Yes, he was, and I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
wonderful in Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
he's. I forgot I was going to mention this as well. There's so much about this film is that it doesn't happen anymore because everybody talks to each other instantaneously. But I remember certain films where we watched them either on TV or at the cinema, and the day after in school, everybody would be quoting everything, and that was one of the quotes was, "Hold on, fuck off." Because it was like we didn't like the teachers here, but like that was just like, "You're gonna rip out your eyes and piss on your brain." That was another.
So aggressive.
But like,
his name was Paul Gleason, by the way. I didn't want to slip by without mentioning his name is Paul Gleason. Wonderful actor.
Wasn't related to Jackie Gleason, was he?
I don't believe so. I'm not picking up my phone and looking, but I don't believe so.
But also that train sequence as well. Other cameos.
Fact checker.
Yeah.
Oh, you do it then. You do it then. If you've got them.
We've got a fact checker.
You
can check.
You're fact checking that one. I was going to say on that train, the other Belushi is on there.
Yeah, that's right, James Jim.
Yeah, and also Al Franken, who was a comedian who I knew of, and then became a very, very cool senator in America who really hates his current government. But yeah, that whole train sequence, I understand what you mean about it being very jarring, but I think in those days, there was still that element of, especially in theatre, but you had that element of farce where it's sort of like the Marriage of Figaro thing is all because all that kind of music was there for the operas to have those kind of moments on stage where everybody's changing clothes and running around and stuff like that. And that is the whole thing of that train thing, is that I can see why they did. Oh, it's New Year's Eve and we need to have them in a confined space and they've all got to be at this place. So therefore they have to be doing this. So it does make some sense. It also feels too much like the finale. But after we go from that scene, we literally go to the World Trade Center and it's people on the stock exchange. That's the finale. So it just feels weird to sort of be so cartoonish and the costumes and the blackface.
You're forgetting the bestiality as well.
The bestiality.
The 80s were a different time.
But it's
I forgot
like
about the blackface.
I don't know, because it's evidence. But they crammed all the nonsense into the space of about 15 minutes. It's just bizarre.
It's a sort of like blackface, not okay. That film,
no.
It's sort of like I'm guessing that Dan Aykroyd will go, I'd never do that again. Good, but of the time of that film, it was so funny. Because it's just sort of like, well, that's obviously somebody blacked up.
Terrence Beeks had obviously spoken to each of these people, so he knew who these people were. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, do you want to know Dan Aykroyd's defense of the blackface? I think that's the right word, the defense. He says he feels like that's what his character would have done in that situation. And considering how Arrested Development those characters are, I feel like he would think that was okay. And the entire thing is a satire, so I sort of get it. Obviously, it would never be done today.
You do it differently. You could still do stuff, but it'd be done a lot differently. You know what? Actually, with him saying that, I actually get it, because there are times in that film where a lot of the richer characters are very disdainful for anybody else outside of their own little circle.
Yeah.
Yes. They have no clue. Did you catch the Duke brothers, their Arrested Development, where they drink milk, and they never seem to be drinking alcohol of any kind. When they bring Valentine into the limo, he's shaking whiskey at him as if he's like, come and get your whiskey, poor person.
Like a trap.
So there's little things like that I do think these people are essentially children.
There's as Jamie Lee Curtis takes Dan Aykroyd back to her flat, they're walking past three guys, and she calls them all by name, and he goes, "You know those people?" Yeah. And in a really disdainful way. That's what made me think. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I understand why Winthrop would do that, because he doesn't see them as real people. It's just sort of like
he doesn't know any better, and I think that's the whole point of the character, really.
But it is terrible. It's I could never got that about blackface when I was a kid. Well, I still don't get it fully. Is that I understand the premise of it. I understand that was minstrelling and all that kind of stuff, and it was a lot in olden days. It was to really emphasize that thing, big red mouth, and so it stood out on stage. But in that film, all I could think of is, how would anybody not know? It's just sort of like, why is this guy got boot polish all over his face? As soon as he pulls the wig off, there's a big white mark like that.
And why is Denholm Elliott suddenly talking like this? And it's so bizarre.
He would have never have met. I'm guessing he would have never have met Denham's character.
Possibly not.
So it's just like, why have you gone for full on Irish? You could have just be you.
It's so crazy. I do have one more fact, actually, which I've forgotten about. I hadn't made a note of it, but it's just occurred to me. The scene with Jamie Lee Curtis wearing lederhosen, she was supposed to be German initially, but couldn't do the accent. So that's why they made it into a joke.
I remember that. Would you like to help me with my rucksack? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. There's just so much of that film that I've started watching it again, and there is so many levels that I've missed out on. But then I'm thinking back at being a kid. I'm looking at it through the eyes of my parents loving it. I'm looking at the fact that I loved it, and I'm looking at the fact that it was a kid. You're going, oh my god! Even if Jamie Lee Curtis had not got her boobs out at any point in that film, but had done the rucksack thing, I think that would have tided me over for a good couple of years. It was just sort of like, whoa, that's what women are. Whoa, I need to find
pretty lady.
Rucksack.
And then the crazy thing is that Hollywood wanted her to have plastic surgery. Literally just after that film. They said to get more roles, she looked too manly, is what they said to her. So to get more roles, she had surgery.
They're a weird bunch, aren't they, in America?
Yep.
Wasn't there a rumor that she was a
hermaphrodite?
Yeah, and it's just like, did you not see the film?
Have you never even seen True Lies? I know. Tell me about it. Going back to the favourite characters thing, and you started talking about wrestling very, very briefly. There's one thing I wanted to mention. Did anyone else, when they were watching this film, when John Amici says "Indeed," anyone else think of Kai and Tai?
Yeah. There are little things that I never tell people that as things happen to me in my life, I have wrestling commentary going on in my head. So it's just sort of like, if anybody quotes anything that might be anyway loosely linked to wrestling, all I can hear is that in my head.
I get a few sort of classic bits.
Yeah.
Of like just always running around your head if someone says something, but then you've got to gauge who you're with, because they'll just look at you and go, nah.
Oh, yeah. I very rarely speak out about my wrestling unless I'm around safe people.
Yeah.
Very rarely. But by God always comes up in my head. I can always hear JR going, by God!
They broke him in half.
Yeah. So it's just sort of like that. Somebody will be trying to have a conversation with me, and my head will be going back to the country from Hell in a Cell.
Right. Well, as we're talking about wrestling, we need to find out where all your socials are. And
yes, please.
About Atomic.
Yes, well, it's a good job that I can do it off the top of my head rather than having to find stuff really quickly on my phone. Is WrestleAtomic.com. If you're looking for WrestleAtomic.com or WrestleAtomic, you will find us on most of the things like Instagram and TikTok. I don't think we do it. Yeah, no, we do it to TikTok. I was going to say Blue Sky. I think we tried that out for a couple of hours and then just left it be.
I did that.
But yeah. We're across all. So I think we're going to do a bit more next year. Again, this is 3.5 years in. 3.5 years in, and I think we're doing pretty well to be. We started off it was pro wrestling in a brewery because we liked the way that it looked in America when everybody was just right around the ring and drunk. And then we've moved to content now. So I think it's a bigger venue. It's more. We've got the ability to do more stuff technically. And we're sort of building up, so now we need to. It's a lot. You know what? It's weird. It's. If we had more time, I'd love to have a chat about running any kind of company, because there's lots of stuff that people don't see, yourself included. You know, people that merch stuff and referees, and there's the wrestlers are the wrestlers. The wrestlers are the talent. They're the people who. But then everything that goes to just putting a show on. And then I'm not going to jump to the defense of WWE because they've got shed loads of money. They are the Duke brothers, and quite literally, actually, if you think about it, with Vince and Triple H. Anyway, that's the reason that Booker never got that run that he should have had.
No, I'm still upset about that.
But if you want to talk more about that, I don't want to hijack this podcast, but why don't you come on with me and Jamie in the next year?
Yeah.
On the professional unprofessionals. I can't remember which way around we do it. And we'll have a good chat with that, because obviously there's no atomic dates announced so far for next year other than the Burning Heart collab.
There is March the 8th at content.
Yeah, Burning Heart collaboration has been announced, which will be an absolutely huge show. So if we get you on just before that, come on the Professional Unprofessionals and we can talk about running a promotion and everything that goes into that.
Yeah. All of it is really similar to. I get how trying to put a film together, trying to put any form of entertainment takes a lot of, as you said, it was trying to get the people into the different actors and all that kind of stuff. Hey, there's lots of stuff that goes putting a podcast together. Good God, it was just sort of behind the scenes, shambolic. In front of you, it's like a beautiful swan.
Yep. Well, very grateful for your time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully,
check out WrestleTomic.com. Also, check out Trading Places. If you've never seen it before, it is one of the best Christmas films. I keep forgetting it's a Christmas film and New Year film.
It is. Right.
Thank you so much for your time, pal.
Bye.